Hello， 大家好，欢迎收听 Chinese with Charlie 播客第5集。今天的播客我们要谈论2个非常重要的汉字，想和要。Hello everyone, welcome to the 5th episode of Chinese with Charlie podcast. In today's episode, we're going to discuss 2 very important Chinese characters, 想 and 要。The character Yao has many meanings, making it a very special and practical word. Let's first explore some of its most important meanings. First, Yao can mean have to do, need to do, must do, or should do. For example, 我要学习 I need to study, or I have to study. 我要工作 I have to work, or I need to work. 我要上学 I have to go to school, or I should go to school. Alright, now let's look at the second meaning of 要. The second meaning of 要 is want. For example, 我要喝水 I want to drink water. 我要喝咖啡 I want to drink coffee. 我要学习 I want to study. Did you notice that when we say 我要学习 it can mean I have to study. It can also mean I want to study. So when does 要 mean have to, and when want to? It really depends on the context. For example, if a friend asks you to hang out with him, and you just cannot go because you have to study, then you can say 我要学习 meaning I have to study. But in another situation, if you are someone who really loves studying and prefer it over doing something else, then 我要学习 means I want to study. So basically, there is a tendency when you're talking about something that most people don't feel like doing after 要. 要 sounds like you have to do, you should do. It's not your personal willing. For example, 学习 to study is something that most people don't feel like doing, right? Alright, and now you might wonder, doesn't 想 also mean want? Yes, the answer is yes. So, when expressing want, you can say 我要 我想 or even you can say 我想要 by putting 想 and 要 together. But you have to know that after 想 we have to use a verb. If you don't use a verb after the character 想, then this character has different meanings. For example, if you want to say, I want to go home, you can say, 我要回家 You can also say, 我想回家 Or you can say, 我想要回家 So what's the difference between 想 and 要 when they both mean want? So 要 sounds stronger and more decisive, while 想 is softer and more polite, especially when you're asking for something. 要 implies kind of certainty and determination, whereas 想 conveys a thought or idea. which may or may not become a reality. Let's look at an example. 我想去中国。我想去中国。我要去中国。我要去中国。Both of the sentences mean I want to go to China. But in the first sentence, 我想去中国。我想去中国。It sounds like you're considering the idea of going to China, but the details are still unknown. And in the second sentence, 我要去中国。我要去中国。It seems you've already started making plans, like learning Chinese or saving money for that trip. Now let's take a look at another example. Let's imagine you're a guest at someone's home and you want to drink, let's say, water. You can say, 我想喝水。我想喝水。I want to drink water. You can also say, 我要喝水。我要喝水。I want to drink some water. If you know the master of the house very well, let's say they're your friends or even relatives or parents, then you can just say 我要喝水. Because when you say 我要喝水 to somebody else, it sounds like you're giving them an order and you just want it. But if you don't know the master of the house and you want to be polite as a guest, then it's better to say 我想喝水. It sounds more like, okay, I have kind of idea that I want to drink some water, but if you don't want to offer me, that's okay. Alright, after the comparison between 想 and 要, if you're still confused, don't worry. You can always say 我想要. 我想要. Let's say in that way, you're always polite and you will never get anyone offended and you can get what you want. Now, let's look at the last point. Do you still remember I mentioned that you have to use a verb after 想 if you want to say want something? But this rule doesn't apply to 要. You can also use a noun after 要, and then it means I want something. For example, 我要一杯咖啡. 我要一杯咖啡. I want a cup of coffee. 我要这本书. 我要这本书. I want this book. 我要一个蛋糕. 我要一个蛋糕. I want a cake. Alright, to summarize, 要 primarily has two meanings. Need to do, should do, have to do. It depends on the context. And the second meaning of 要 is want. Want to do something or want something. Additionally, you can also use 想 or 想要 with verbs to express you want to do something. And to avoid any unpleasant situation, you can always say 我想要 to be politer and to get whatever you want. Alright, that's all for today's podcast. If it helped you with your learning, don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast. See you next time. 再见，拜拜。